This is a painting I've just started. It's a large canvas, and working with large canvases is always kind of tricky. I start with sketches in my sketchbook, and I just do very rough sketches. They're kind of like a shorthand for me. So I don't expect them to be necessarily comprehensible to other people, but you can kind of see how I work and play with the shapes until I get a composition that is pleasing to me. Once I'm through with the sketches, I go to the canvas, which I've already gessoed. I do all my own canvas stretching, and I do all my own gessoing, which is a step that many people find tedious, but I really enjoy the starting from scratch and getting the dimensions exactly the way I want them, rather than relying on commercially sized standard frames. So what I do is I block out where I want things to be, where I think. Now when something's this size, you have to get back from it to be able to see what you've done. When you're up close working, it's hard to tell. The initial drawing is kind of tedious, but it's the foundation for the whole painting, and I have learned over a 60-year period that if I skip this stage, no matter how good the overpainting is, I'm never really satisfied with it. There are several things that I can do to double check myself. At this stage, one of the things that I do is I have this little pocket mirror. Ta-da! Just a little tiny thing, but I can hold it out like this and look at my painting in the mirror. Looking at your painting or your drawing in reverse shows up any flaws glaringly, so you can correct them before you get to putting a lot of paint on your canvas. Another trick to check your work before you go too far is to turn your canvas upside down and look at it not as it. When you do that, your mind is forced to see in an abstract way. The next step for me is to put a solid color into the negative shapes of the canvas. By negative shapes, what I mean is all the space that's around the figures that I've drawn. And you can use almost any color for this. You don't want to put a lot of paint on. You can kind of thin it down a lot. Right now I'm using phthalo blue, which is a very powerful blue, almost an electric blue. But I want to gray it down a little bit, so I'm adding some cobalt red to it. And this won't really show when the overpainting is done. But it gives me a third way to check on the composition before I go to the trouble of laying the actual colors that I want on the canvas. If you decide to do a really large canvas, one useful tool that I can recommend is making yourself an easel, like a wall easel. This one just goes like this. It's attached to the wall with chains. It's braced here, and I can take it off completely if I want to, and use this wall to hang a painting on at some point. But it makes it a lot easier to have the bottom of your canvas, if you're a really large canvas, off the floor. Alright, so one of the things I'm going to do now is to just walk in. Now this may look black, it's actually a very, very deep muted blue. And I can thin it out a lot. I don't have to, at this point I don't have to be careful of which direction my brush goes. All I'm interested in right now is filling in around these shapes, the basic shapes of the horses and the rectangles I've drawn that have the landscapes in them. The reason I'm stopping here in a line is because this area outside is usually a border on my paintings. It's kind of become a trademark with my work. Okay, I've got this color pretty well in here. Like you see, it's blotchy. It's not uniform. It doesn't have to be. But when I stand back from it, I can see how the line flows through it. Now I'm going to continue on with this color and just kind of finish my drawing here, so I can see how this line comes up here. What I'm trying to do is have the eye flow through the canvas. I have another, this rectangle here will have another canvas applied to it, a separate painting, and I'll show you my underpainting for that in a moment. So your eye, what I'm looking for is for your eye to be led from this picture up through the nose of this one, up through the tail, up through here, continue on here into the landscape, and then go back this way in the mountain range. Now there's some other lines in there, but they're incidental. The main line that you're going to see that will move your eyes is this kind of serpentine line here. So it comes down this way. When this painting is complete, I will cut it out so it's about the area between where my hands are right now. And then I will apply it to this larger canvas. So it'll be in here, it'll be about this big, and you'll see that your eye will be led to this. Your eye goes from here to here to here, on up through the horse's neck,